And welcome. I received this box today. It winged its way all the way from Dublin to the undisclosed location of the doctor's surgery here in County Tyrone. So we'll get her open and see what's in her here. Here we are. We've got a nice collection of Milwaukee batteries. We've got a 5 amp, a 5 amp, a 5 amp, a 4 amp, another 4 amp, two 9 amps, and a 12 amp. This video is really about triaging these 8 batteries, just to show you what I do when I get batteries in for repair. It'll give you an idea how I discover what's wrong with them, and I aim to fix them, of course. Just get these batteries out of the box and I'll number them so we can keep track. Here they are, numbered from 1 to 8. The first 3 are 5 amps, 4 and 5s are 4 amps, 6 and 7 are 9 amps, and the 12 amp is number 8. So we're going to go through them one at a time and see what's wrong with them. I'll show you some of the processes that I do to find out the issue. And the first thing we do when we get a battery is press the button, and no light comes on in this case. And the next thing we do is do a volt check from the positive and negative terminals on the top of the battery. And we are getting nothing. So that tells us there's no power coming out the top. That could be a good thing, could be a very bad thing. But we'll not know till we go to the next stage, which is opening the battery. Oh, somebody's the screws out. Look at this. Somebody's already been in here. Look, there's no screws in this battery. We'll go on there. Somebody stuck a screw out of the board as well. Look at that. My goodness. Anyway, there's no broken connections at the top. What I was hoping was that some of the connections were broke. This was burnt off or broke or something. That's why we're getting no power. So the next thing we do is take it out of the casing. This one's been tampered with because the screw's out and there's no screws in the actual battery. You'll see that 5 banks of 2 cells, the usual thing. There's no broken connections at the top. There's no loose connections at the side. And I suspect this might be a complete dud. What I mean by that is if all the cells are reading 0, which I suspect they will be, that battery has got nothing going for it. It's barely registering. That's that bank. Barely registering that bank. Barely registering. We might be lucky though, because there's actually something there. We might be lucky. These are very low. These are less than, fractions of a volt all the way. Seriously, critically low voltage throughout the pack. What I would say about that, and what the possible attempt to fix would be, I would say we could try voltage recovery through the power supply, DC power supply. Or if you want to do a crude method, jump start, but because these are so low you're likely to fry at least 4 of the cells, I would say, doing that. So I would say trying it in the DC power supply would be my solution for that. So that's 1 down. Very low volts. Very low volt. So that'll tell me what I need to know. Then I need to try and recover the voltage in that one. On to battery 2. Test again. No light. What we have to do is a quick volt check out the top of the battery. We have to see what she's throwing out the top. Again, positive, negative. That's, let's see, get to the voltage. It might tell me. It's showing 13.8 volts. Before opening this, I would guess, I'm guessing, that we need to do cell replacement in that one. I would say there's, doing the mathematics, I would say there's probably 4 cells away in that one. But again, we don't know for sure till we get in there. We'll have to take the screws out of this one because there's actually screws in this one. This is below chargeable voltage at 13.8, but unless it's just low across the pack, voltage recovery wouldn't be the answer. If we have some cells lower than others, we have to either bring the cells up to voltage or replace them. So, with the pack open like this, we can do another test. We can test the cells. We can actually test the cells from the top. I'll show you how to do this. I showed you how to test them by taking it out. But this could be a useful one if you're not confident and you're a bit afraid of the old battery repair. You know, as a lot of people are, and I do not judge you for that. I am a bit crazy, so I don't expect you to be crazy as well. So we start at the plus terminal, go to the next one. That's 3.6, that's a good chargeable voltage. So that front bank of cells are good. And the next bank of cells are good. This would tell me that we're going to have 2 in the end maybe that are bad. Next 2 are bad. Yep. The next 2 are bad. That's the middle bank. It's bad. And there's and what do we see? We'll take it out and show you. It might be clear if I remove it. You can see the banks of cells there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll go down them again just to show you from plus to minus. That one's good, 3.6. That one's good, 3.6. That one's bad. That's showing a negative voltage. That's what's pulling down the voltage of the pack. That one's good. And that one is also good. We need 2 cells in the middle. So it's the 2 middle cells there that have to be removed and replaced. And we can fix that pack that way. Throw it back together again and document what's wrong with it. Two middle cells. I noticed that 4 banks measuring 3.6 didn't add up to 13.8. It adds up to more than that. But because the middle bank was actually failed and was showing a minus voltage, I was actually pulling down the voltage of the whole pack. So that's how that works. So moving on to number 3. Number 3. Again, the light test. We've got 1 flashing light. That's the first one with a flashing light. And the voltage check. The voltage check shows 14.9 volts. This could be one or two things again. It could be that the whole pack has fell below chargeable voltage over time, because it needs to be about 17 and a half for the charger to recognize it and won't charge. Or we could have a couple of failed cells again. Get the screws out. And get the top off to see what's going on. Again, no broken connections at the top. You wouldn't have expected to see them with the voltage. And we'll do the same again. We'll pull it out of the pack just to see, and do a volt check again. So here we go. First one is dead. Second one is 3.75, which is good. Third one is 3.75, which is good. Fourth one is 3.75, which is good. And N1, which is 3.75. So it's the one on this end, it's the one on the positive end. One on the positive end is dead, so that needs 2 cells as well. So 2 cells on positive end. So that's what's wrong with that. And here we go, number 4 it is. And the light check, 1 flashing light again. Flashing light doesn't tell you a terrible lot, but it's just it tells you it either needs charged or there's something wrong with it. So we're going to do a volt check. And again we're low. 15.1 volts coming out the top. So we'll get her open and see what else is going on. This is a 4 amp battery. There were 3 before it, where 5 amp, but the principle is exactly the same. And to the untrained eye, they look the same. It's just the cells are different. This is tight. There we are. That was tight, but it come off. Anyway, so again, we have a different fault. I see the fault already. As you see, I mentioned earlier about the connections in the top. Well, here's where it comes into play, look. There's a fusible link in this one, and that has burnt through. See if we can focus on that to see. So we made it one of the easiest fixes in the lot. It's just reconnecting that. Sometimes if a battery's driven too hard, sometimes they have the wee fusible link somewhere in the pack, and if they're driven too hard to get an overheat, that they're potentially to overload, the cells overheat, they'll fire the current back and actually burn out the weakest link, which is that. That tells us that something happened and burnt out, but that might not be curtains for this battery. Again, we're getting 15 volts, so that might only mean that this pack, these front cells are not connected to the pack, which means you'll be getting something like 18 volts instead of 15. But we'll not know until we do the usual volt check on all the cells. But this is not a repair video, this is to show you the process that I use. 3.97, 3.98, 3.98, 3.98, 3.98 I would say, yeah, 3.9, let's see, let's see, get a good connection. Yeah, that pack is not only got all good cells in it, they're all perfectly balanced. That is our issue. That's what's wrong. We just needed to we need to reconnect that, and we have a good battery. So battery 4 is the most promising candidate and the easiest fix. So we'll write down broken fusible link. Yeah, so there we are. You don't get them every day, but it's nice to see one. So we'll see. 5. Upside down, there you are. So again, 1 flashing light, and we'll connect the multimeter to it. There we are. We've got 4.4 volts, which is a terribly low voltage, and that might not be a disaster either. But we'll know when we open the pack. So we'll get the pack open and we'll see what's happening. To top off, this 4 is very tight as well. Must be a 4 amp thing. This is a 4 amp as well. Again, if we look at the top, we can see a lot of corrosion. That's, you don't want to see that, but it's not a disaster. And if you look at the fusible link on this 4, it's intact. See, somebody's been at this, they've marked it that's positive and minus. I never like to see that, but the screws are all in it. Let's get the volt check done on the cells now. There's a bit of corrosion on the side, but that doesn't panic me. I don't worry about that. But it's nice to see them clean and there's no corrosion on them, but you know, we can't always have what we want, can we? So here we go. That's a low volt. This was only 4.4. It's 3.46. I'm disappointed that's actually high. I'll explain why in a minute. That's low. That's low as well. And that's actually a bad, that's a minus voltage, so that's a bad bank of cells. So really and truly there's only one good bank of cells in this. I think it's in the middle, isn't it? I'll just check it for the documentation reason. No. Right. Second bank from positive is good. 8 bad cells. That's what it is. If they had been all showing any kind of voltage, even 1 or anything, we could have maybe brought them up with voltage recovery. So second bank from positive end good. 8 bad cells. Because of the corrosion, because there's so many bad cells in that one, number 5 might be unrecoverable. But we'll see how we do. So I'll put it together and move swiftly on to number 6. This is number 6, and that's a 9 amp high demand. It's got one flashing light. They're different, but I'll show you why they're different when you get inside. They're the same principle. Again, we'll check the voltage coming out the top, and we've got 9.5. And we'll check inside to see what that means, what's causing that. These are different. They've got the 4 screws in the bottom, like the other batteries, but they've got additional little screws holding the pack in as well. These 4 screws on the outside, like the smaller batteries, hold the lid on. But unlike the other ones, they have 4 screws holding the battery pack in. Because I can get the lid off, but I'll not get that pack out without taking them screws out. And the bottom of them 4 wee ones. You can see them. At the top, it's not the cleanest. The connections are all connected. Even the fusible links intact at the top. We'll get those 4 screws out and we will take the pack out. This is the first difference. When I take this pack out, I'm going to show you the second difference. Because instead of 10 cells in this pack, it's got 15. It's got 15. You see that? And I'm going to let you into a little secret as well about this particular one. I've discovered something right away. Somebody's actually repaired this pack. That's why it looks so rough at the top. This is not original spot welding. It is spot welding or soldering or something, but it is something. I'm not slagging off their workmanship, but somebody has been here before. So we can state for the record that number 6 has been repaired before. Well, a fellow repairman has been there. This is not my work. I'm not saying his work's any worse than mine. I'm just saying it's not me done it. I didn't do the job this time. But anyhow, that is neither here nor there. We're going to do a wee volt check like we did with others. And the principle is the same. You still have 5 banks of cells, but instead of 2 in each bank you have 3. That's where you achieve the voltage, or you achieve the amperage, should I say. The second bank is shown as bad. The first one's 2.25. The third one's 2.25. Very low, but still viable. Not bad actually. There's just one bank of cells completely away at 2.79, a bit of cell imbalance. So somebody's had that apart before. It might be a good thing for me. It might make it easier to take apart again. You know, they've done it slightly different than I would, but that's not a bad thing. But that one's actually gone. That second pack in, the second bank in from the positive end. So we'll note that for the record. So second bank in from positive end bad, and fixed before. 8 low cells. That tells me a little bit of what I'm going to do. With that, it gives me an idea. So that is, yeah, number 6. Number 7, and it's another 9 amp. So again, the light test, one flashing light. Volt check reveals is 12.9 volts. So again, we know she's a low volter, but it's not clear what's causing it. So we'll get all the screws out and we'll take her apart here. Out the screws, I noticed something about this battery. It's built by Lupo batteries. Now they were a company based in Poland. That might have been the other one. The other one, I've looked at the top, it says Lupo batteries. That was somebody in Poland was actually doing that for a living, and their premises burned to the ground. I don't know if it was last year or the year before last year, so I'm expecting this one to be, yeah, somebody's been here before. I'm not going to slag off their handiwork, but they were doing that for a living, and the company is now burned to the ground. So it was a shame for them. It's a shame that happened to them, but we might be in luck with this one. Anyway, so we're looking at the top. We can see there's these two aren't spot welded. When these come new, you can see the other ones are spot welded. They're soldering. I'm not slagging that off because that's what I do as well. And you can see all other links are, yep, connected, except the fusible link in this type. The fusible link in this one is also gone. Yeah. So we'll pull it out of the pack and see if we can get a better volt check. I think he has spot welded them, but he's got a stronger spot welder than I have. It works, but he used the original. He used the original material, which is always best anyway. I would say he's done a real good job in that. It looks rough, but it's good enough. Let's do the volt check to see if the cells are all good. I suspect they will be. When that fusible link's away, it's probably just that. It's probably just that. We'll start here. 3.45. 3.45. 3.45. 3.45. This is looking good. 3.45. Yep. So go back to that again. Yep. They're all good. It's the fusible link in this one again. So that's very, very good news. Even though this is a, well, semi-professional company rebuild, I wouldn't be nervous about it. And we just need to reconnect that. It obviously had an overload of some sort and it just burnt out. So what I'll do is connect a wee bit of nickel strip across there, solder it across. It'll still be a fusible link because it'll be a lot weaker than the rest and it will burn out in the case of an overload. So that's good. That's good news. Number 7 is the fusible link. Fusible link. Last but not least, number 8, and it's also a Lupo bolt battery if you see that. This is a 12 amp. What sets it apart from the 9 amp, it has also got 15 cells, but they're bigger cells. Actually bigger in size as well as capacity. And it's got a flashing light. and if we connect the voltmeter to the positive and negative here, we get 17 volts, 17.1. You can see that. That's coming into almost chargeable voltage range. So we really need to dig in again, get the 4 outer screws and 4 inner screws. Same principle as the 9 amp, but it's a bigger battery just in every way, capacity and size. The screws out, we'll get the top off, and again, a home build, but all the connections are, they don't look pretty, you know, some of mine don't look pretty anyway either, so I'm not slagging it off, but they're all there, they're all connected. So we'll pull her out. Again, I had to remove the 4 screws in the bottom to do that, and there's been a bit of DIY home build, well, semi-professional lipo home build, so that's alright. He's connected everything well enough done, good enough spot welding. Looks untidy to the untrained eye, but as long as everything's connected, it's okay. So here we are, the volt check. 3.43, good. 3.43, good. 3.43, I'm expecting all the cells to be good. Yeah. That battery, conceivably, with all the cells good, should charge. But if it doesn't charge, I'd only suggest one thing: a new circuit board. There might be something in the circuit board that is failed. No, that's a connection. Look at that. That connection's not good there. It might be just that connection's bad. Either that connection's bad in the top of the board, or I would say that's probably what it is. Oh, that's just terrible. It's a bad connection. All the cells are good there. We just need to redo that. As long as he hasn't overheated, he's done a bit of a bad job there, because he might have overheated some component in the board there beside that. If you do that, you wreck the board. But these boards can be got. I don't know if I have any at the minute, but potentially a board and a bad connection. That's what we're going to write down for that one. So disconnect at board and possibly field board. Right, PCB. That'll do. So that's the full triage there. Very low voltage, 2 middle cells, 2 cells in the end, broken fusible link, second bank from the end good, and 8 bad cells, second bank from the end bad, and 8 low cells, as fixed before. Number 7 fusible link, and the disconnected the board, possibly bad board. That's the full triage section that shows you how I would establish what's wrong with the battery and determine whether it's worth fixing or not, or what I'm going to attempt. I have a battery repair course dedicated to these M18 batteries. I'll put the link in the description and pin in the comments section. And if you liked this video and enjoyed it, check out my channel for all my other videos, and don't forget to subscribe. And I have new videos every week, and I'm very heavy in battery content.